In this presentation, we're going to move into a slightly more complicated look at how to use Excel for analyzing practice data. In the prior, we had a couple of prior presentations on how you can use Excel for single case data. We had a case that had an individual tracking Jill, and then we saw how we could actually extend that into a small group setting. So, and that works very well if you're doing single case data, but many of you will end up doing projects that really focus more on group data. So group data changes the scenario a tad, and it's a little more complicated, but once you get a feeling for it, it's not impossible. We do get into some statistical tests. In this case, we're going to look at an independent samples t-test, and we're going to learn how to compute effect sizes for group data. By now you know that there are a couple of different effect sizes for group data, actually 5 or so that we discussed. So in this one, we're just going to look at two, a mean difference and a standardized mean difference. I'm going to show you how to do those. So let's get started. So we want to do this in 3 chunks. This first presentation will focus a little bit on data structure. Actually, mostly on data structure, about how you can go about making sure your file is set up so you can actually analyze these data. So let's see if we can have this make sense. It's very helpful if you have this data file to work along, so that you can work along with us on this. But if not, at least get your handle on the data file. And you can see that it's analyzing group data, teen pregnancy prevention project with control. So the scenario is we've got a teen pregnancy prevention program that we're interested in using in a school with 9th and 10th graders. The group design is laid out here. You've actually seen these schematics before. You can see the target population in a school, random selection, random assignment. It makes this design actually a randomized controlled trial. You've got pre-test data for program students and for control students. You've done the intervention here, and then you've got post-measurement data for the program students and the control students. It's really very straightforward, and we've got our arrows indicate some of the comparisons we make. Mainly what we're interested in is this comparison. This 2-headed arrow right here, which is, in this case, the difference between scores on an assessment instrument that we're using as our primary measure for the project. We're interested in seeing if there are differences between the control group and the experimental group, or the program group. And where our hypothesis is that there is a difference, actually, and that's the whole point of this, essentially. So how you set up your data file to do this test is really very important, but it's not mysterious, and we show you how to do this in this spreadsheet, essentially. So you can see the scores. You can actually, and they're sort of set up per the design in some ways. So we always have when we're doing group data, we always have some group designation of some sort or another to group data file. In the next one, where we just look at a single group, it's not as important, but in this one it is. And so you can see that we have a set of scores. There are actually 32 scores for the students who participated in the program. And then there are 28 scores for students who participated in the control group. And I actually like to set up these little counters here. That gives me a sense. I mean, you don't have to do it that way, but it gives you a sense of how many, the ends in each group, which can actually be helpful. for us. There are other ways to do it, but I like setting it up that way. So we have some descriptive information on gender and grade, which could be of interest. We probably won't do too much with that in an analysis sense, but it's, helpful to know. And we might take a real quick look at how we can aggregate that and look at it. What we're really interested in, however, is the scores of participants in either group on a pre-test and a post-test. And in this case, we have a simple tool that we can score as a number or a percent correct. It's a knowledge, attitudes, values, and behavior assessment tool that has a scoring routine to it. And 100 would be a perfect score, and a 0 would be a bad score. And the scores range between 0 and 100, obviously, with higher being better. So we have our pre-test data that we have. So our program pre-test data would be in this box. Our program, our control pre-test data would be in this box, and then our post scores for the program group would be in this box, and our control would be in this box. So that's really how we set up the data file. You want to give you a chance to sort of look at how we did it, how it gets structured. It's really pretty straightforward. It's absolutely critical, though, that you have this set up in a way that allows you to analyze it. And it just so happens that this structure is a very helpful structure. One of the nice things about Excel is that you can embed graphics in this. So this presentation is, I think, enhanced. At least we were feeling it was enhanced in part by having the schematic in it. So you could actually see where the data here end up in the evaluation design. And over here, and we're going to talk about how these get computed. These are the effect sizes. They're actually the measures of the differences between the two groups and the outcome variable, essentially. So that's our first part of this group design analysis strategy. So I'm going to stop here and let you digest that.